Hello, this is Emily. Welcome back to my channel, and if you've noticed, I'm kind of at a different angle today, and my shelves are looking slightly different than normal. Well, the thing is, I spent the last week reorganizing my shelves and pulling all of the books that I have not read and putting them on this one shelf. Now, with those books I have not read, I did not include my unread mangas or my graphic novels because there wouldn't have been enough room for that. But these two shelves behind me are completely full of every single book I own that I haven't read, and I kind of broke it down to each like little mini categories. So I'll just kind of go over them with you and kind of see what books I probably should be reading or not reading in the near future. And of course, stop buying so many books. So let's hop right on in and get started. So this first little section up here, I have classified as my impulse buy spot. So these are some books that I kind of bought like while I was perusing around shopping and just happened to see and pick up without any rhyme or reason. Some of them sounded interesting at the time, and some of them I completely forgot what they were about because I bought them on an impulse and just never picked them up again. So that's pretty much what I have here, and I'll move this one here so you can see the titles of all of these, and maybe I'll get around to reading them. Though I do know the Starless Crown really did interest me, but it's starting a new series, and If We Were Villains is another one that kind of interested me. So those might be seen in the near future for me to read, but the others, I don't really know. So this small section here and this section up here, as well as these three books that are wrapped, I have classified them as my TBR vets / IDKYs. So on my shelf up here for my TBR vets / IDKYs, a lot of them are books that are either continuing on in a series, starting a series, or stuff I found on sale that I had my eyes on and then I just never got around to reading, or they're incomplete series. So I bought like the second or third book because they were on sale, but I haven't been able to find the first book on sale yet. So they're just kind of sitting in limbo till I catch up to series or decide to start reading them. So a lot of those are just mixed matched of different genres and age ranges. So eventually I will get around to reading them, or if I lose interest in them, they'll probably be the ones most likely to be unhauled on my TBR. So this small section here and these two here, these are my forgottens. They are books I've started and just never finished. So with my forgottens here, a lot of these are ones I've started and either I wasn't in the right headspace, hit a reading slump, or lost interest in the book and decided to go back and reread at a later date. Like for example, The Humans right here. This was actually one I started trying to read during COVID, and then I got really sick and just never got back around to reading it once I got better. And so it's just been sitting on my shelf since then. And then a lot of these other ones, there's stuff kind of I picked up, read a few chapters. I was enjoying the story. I just wasn't in the mood for that type of story at the time, so they went back on my shelf, and one day I hope I will get around to finishing them. So this next section from here down is probably my most promising section because they are my highly anticipated or a lot of my newer releases at the time when I bought them. So for example, Love on the Brain here, I read the Love Hypothesis last year and completely loved that story, read it in like one day. So I went ahead and bought this when it was released. So that's why I am anticipating reading it. And then another one I'm anticipating reading, I just haven't picked up reading yet because it's an incomplete series and the next one does not have a release date quite yet. And that's Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson. And this one, I love the series. Given the first two books 5 stars, I'm just not quite ready to pick this one up because I want it to be more complete than what it is and closer to the 4th book's release date. This next whole 2 shelves are basically books I bought the whole entire series of, or like all the ones that are released so far. And so I probably need to start the series since I have multiple in that series that I have not started yet. So with my series shelf, like for instance, I do plan on reading Shaman's Crossing in the month of September. That one's actually currently set on my September TBR, so hopefully I'll be getting around to that sometime soon before the end of the month. And then, of course, I have my favorite love, Brandon Sanderson and Robin Hobb, two of my top favorite authors. And there's just so many books, and they're pretty thick. But I kind of pace myself with reading them. But these are all, like, complete series. So I'm not in any rush to read them. But I still do want to get around to reading them because I do love the authors and their work so much. And then, of course, these are just kind of intimidating because they're big for the 12... Kings and Shahara and its sequel. So that's probably one of the reasons why I haven't quite gotten to it yet, but I do hope to get to it eventually. I feel like I'm changing so many angles here on this video, but now that we've moved down to the lower 3 shelves and I have a dog that wants to interrupt, I had to move to a sitting position because I was getting tired of standing, and it's easier to show them while sitting. So this next section are my big books going up to here. And you know, of course, my big book section is so intimidating because obviously they're big books. They're over 500 pages. So they're time commitments. Like, you know, I have some Sarah J. Maas over here. I have quite a few Stephen Kings, a few Brandon Sandersons, and even the final book in the Books of Babel series, The Fall of Babel, which I am currently almost done with the 3rd book, which is one I hope to complete by September. And so that's why it's not included in this video, because I am actively pursuing reading it right now. But all these other big books, I probably do need to get to and get up the courage to actually read them, despite them being so time consuming. Of course, the next section of the video are all my book box books. So mainly book of the month. I do have one Illumicrate because I do love the spray edges, but a lot of these book of the month books, they are books I do tend to end up enjoying. Some of them might be misses, but the majority I do end up choosing. I actually end up rating 4 or 5 stars. And I do have like Holly Black's Book of Night on there, and some other like most recent releases like Darling Girl. And then I have Ready Player One, which I'm sure I will enjoy that one, at least I hope. And then Upgrade by Blake Crouch, because I did just finish reading Dark Matter and absolutely love that book. So when I saw this was one of the Book of the Month picks, I picked it up. But I do need to get that section on my shelf down, because I mean, I'm paying for a monthly subscription service. I probably need to be reading the books I'm paying for each month. The next section of this video are series I pretty much bought the entirety of, or almost the entirety of, and probably need to finish reading, or I'm in the middle of and close to the end of finishing. So for example, of course I have Paddington back here, which I'm loving. Then The Wheel of Time, some Rick Riordan, some Karen Marie Moning, which I think there's only 3 books left there. I have a dog photo bombing the video, and then just some other books like The Witcher, and then of course more Brandon Sanderson, which part of the reason I haven't continued on with the Stormlight archive yet is just because I know it's not quite finished, and the 5th book's kind of a ways out, so I wasn't quite ready to commit to these 4 until I was closer to the 5th book. And then of course Bands of Mourning, the same reason. I think there's a 4th book in the works, so that's why I haven't quite continued on with the series yet. And then my next section is a mixture of all my classics and nonfiction. So I think all these are pretty much classics. And then down here we have some classics, and they kind of switch over into nonfictions. And there's quite a few. Classic and nonfiction section. One, classics is probably one of my lesser favorite types of books to read. So they do tend to sit on my shelves for quite some time. And also nonfictions are another thing. I have to be in the mood to read one, or it feels like it's a chore. And a lot of my nonfictions are like subject based. Like I like a lot of science and stuff, so I do have a lot of medical based nonfictions. And then also sometimes on the whim, I'll be like, I watch a show and I'm like, I want to learn more history based on the show I've watched or a video I saw while going through 50 billion videos on the web. So of course I'll have a lot of history based books too, just because I want to learn more history. And then they just end up sitting on my shelves for like ever. So, you know. So I guess that's nearing the end of this video. I've kind of done a very speedy overview of my entire TBR, not counting my mangas and graphic novels, which is a whole nother story. But hopefully I can get some of these books down on my TBR. I'm trying not to spend as much and buy as many books because I don't have enough room for all of them, though I wish I did have more room. It's just, you know, limited space. One day I will have my own library that I can put as many shelves as I want in it. But I guess until then, I'm just gonna make do with the space I do have and get to reading some books. And if you happen to see any books in here that you think I need to prioritize and pick up next, feel free to leave a comment down below if you think I will enjoy a book, because sometimes I do get stumped and am not sure what to pick next, and I just kind of blindly guess, which is probably why I have all those half-read books up there. But that's it for today. My dog is being very annoying and wants attention, so I guess I will be hopping off of here and giving Sadie some attention. But see you guys next time. If you enjoy, feel free to click the like and subscribe button down below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. And hey, Sadie might make an appearance too if you guys want to see more of her.